Simon.
Hello Lorna, how are you today?
Oh, I'm really well, thank you.
Well, before we start, let me first welcome our viewers to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscription is and always will be absolutely free. Anyway, in this video we're going to be talking about the King Protea.
Yay.
Yeah, Protea cynaroides from the Fynbos region of which country, Lorna?
You were just making these places and names up, is what I'm thinking.
It does sound like it.
It does sound like it. Are they from Africa?
Yes, they are. They are from South Africa. I will be asking Lorna a number of questions, and you know and I know that Lorna does know all the answers already, and this is just a learning point where we pretend she doesn't know anything and hasn't done her research.
I was educated.
Educated. Right, so here we have King Protea, Protea cynaroides. Protea, from the Greek god Proteas, the image-changing god, and the reason why this plant is called Protea is because it has a vast array of different sizes, shapes, and flowers. And the cynaroides, Lorna, what does that mean?
It means snot from sinus. The
I see where you're
snot.
going. Okay. Very close indeed. Yeah. The well, if you know, oides means to be like or look like,
Yeah.
and cynaroides means it looks like cynara. Cynara being the genus name for the artichoke, and the reason why it's called that is because the blooms
looks like an artichoke.
of
Yeah.
the King Protea look very similar to an artichoke. Anyway, we haven't even started to say what this video is about. This video is about the 5 mistakes that you want to avoid when planting up your Protea. Mistake number 1 is this plant.
Yes.
The region this comes from has a Mediterranean climate, which means it has hot, dry summers. You have to remember the dry bit there, and cold, wet winters. Because of these hot, dry summers, sorry, the plant has adapted to have a kind of cactus style of growth, and because of that, it has long taproot. So when you're potting these on, you don't really want to use a regular pot.
Okay.
That would be a mistake. Mistake
To
number 1.
avoid.
So what you want is something more like a long tom. So put
taller
it
pot.
deeper
Deep
to
pot.
accommodate its tap. Right
root.
now, preferably we'd have like a ridiculously tall one, but they don't make pot. Well, they do make pots like that, but I haven't got one. I have this one. So mistake to avoid: use a deep pot to accommodate the root system. All right. Mistake number 2. Now, mistake number 2 encompasses fertilizer and compost, because they're kind of related, aren't they? The Protea prefers its soil to be between neutral and slightly acidic, so you do not want to be using a regular multi-purpose compost. In fact, it also doesn't like the compost to be particularly well fertilized, as a lot of these will do. So if you can find like a seed compost that is ericaceous, they do exist. I believe John Innes make a formula for that, but I don't remember the last time I've seen one of those. It just doesn't happen. So what you're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make a bit of a seed style compost, so well drained. Needs to be extremely well drained for Proteas, and needs to be slightly acidic. So I'm going to get some. So to start off with, really, I'm going to put a load of grit in the bottom to ensure.
It needs to be well drained, doesn't
Excellent
it?
drainage.
Yes. Right. What have you got now?
It's just a load of thick gravel, really. Right. So there's a couple of inches of gravel in the bottom there.
Yeah. And look at that. Ericaceous.
My lovely ericaceous plant.
You do.
Right. So what?
Yeah, I need to go. I must admit, I'm very excited for my Protea. You know, I'm trying not to kill it. I've always wanted one, so Simon bought me one, which I got
Horticultural
something.
grit.
Oh, yeah.
Now, horticultural grit or sand Sand.
Sand, right.
Again, to increase the drainage. And typically, horticultural grit and sand is lime free.
Okay.
So again, it helps keep it neutral and slightly acidic in the compost. Nice and wet and alright.
Nice. That's the.
Right, so we'll put a little bit of speed on this.
Right. You were so quick, Simon.
Thank you. I don't know how to take that. Was that a compliment or not? For the adults, thank you. So we now got a because of the added sand or grit, horticultural sand, whatever it is you have that you want to use, by adding it into your compost, no more than a 50-50 mix, probably about 25 to 75% mix. So that's 75% multi-purpose compost, 25% grit, because it already has some grit and sand in it. Anyway, so by doing that, we've increased or improved the drainage.
Okay. Right. Put that in here.
Right. So, so you have your soil level in the pot.
Yep.
We want to have the same soil level in this pot.
Okay.
They're not going to sit there.
Hey. Hey.
Right, so
Look at that. It's amazing. So how fast growing is my Protea, honey?
well, it's very easy to ruin these, which is why they are seen as a bit of a connoisseur's plant, whatever that means. Because they're often overwatered and over fertilised. People tend to treat them the same as they do the other plants. So if you don't treat it well, it tends to just stay how it is and then deteriorate. So you get stunted growth, poor growth. But you know, in good conditions, one of these will reach a height of approximately 1.5 metres tall. So that's mature, which means it's going to have to come out this pot to a bigger pot. Hopefully, when that happens, we'll have a more suitable pot for it. If indeed I leave it in the pot, I could put it in the ground, and we'll talk about that later on. I would expect between 2 and 4 years, you know, depending on how the weather goes, how it establishes, you might get some flower on it. But is it fast growing? Well, so I'll be honest with you, this is the first one I've grown. Never sold them in the garden centres in all my time running them, and I've yet to see them. I haven't even seen them.
I haven't seen them in anyone's gardens.
At the big gardens, you know, like Chelsea with the... Maybe it's the time of year we're going, because they flower late in the summer.
Yeah, they're sort of early spring, early summer shows, aren't they? So, yeah, maybe.
So I don't have any experience with them. I don't know anyone who's had experience with them. Haven't sold them, and I haven't seen them in any of the big gardens.
Until now.
But with global warming ever increasing and continuing, then the chances of us growing Proteas in the UK is increasing. So give it a few more years and everybody may have these. So you need to know this information.
I like to think you're a bit of a trendsetter.
Trailblazer.
Yes.
Laughing.
Some people would say that. Is that you that would say that?
Well, most people would say
so?
idiot.
Oh, you know. It quacks like a duck.
Right, okay. A bit more.
Looking very good. You should do this for a living. Yeah, my new Protea. Oh,
there you go. So when you pot
so
on,
excited.
So this is at the same soil surface. Let me just make sure that's there. And then you always have a little drop from the top of the pot to the compost, maybe about an inch or so. So when you do come to water your plants, and not so much with this, then you can water it in without the water spilling over the top.
Oh.
And with that,
waiting for the smile.
what is the next mistake to avoid? Okay, mistake number 3, and this is arguably the biggest mistake that everybody makes on many of their plants, and that is overwatering. And watering with this plant is quite important because of the climate it's come from. It has long, hot, dry summers. So while you're watering all your summer plants, which do need the water, this you want to try and avoid. Allow it to dry out properly between waterings. And when you do water it, don't overwater it, just give it a slight watering. It will not cope with it. It will just struggle. So it's I mean, look at these, right? Yeah, thick, leathery, designed to hold on to the water that's in the plant.
Yeah.
It does not use a lot of water. Do not give it a lot of water. It has very, as I said, very
adapted
long
to retain water.
root systems, like a cactus. The root system goes down 2 meters to get to the water under the ground. It also does have a big lump of fibrous roots very near the surface in order to get nutrition from like leaf mold. But yeah, watering. But the thing is, the climate of this area has wet, cold winters, and here lies the problem, because the RHS says don't keep it outside, keep it under protection and water it lightly. So do you listen to what the RHS says, or do you see what the climate it comes from and mimic that? It is a conundrum. You would think that you could keep it outside, water it more in the winter, but I don't have experience with that. But maybe you do, and if you do, and put that in the comments, because that would be quite interesting. I'm going to say go by the environment. If that's the environment it comes from, then why not water it more in the winter? You've already made the compost very free draining and the base very free draining, so if that's what it expects, then maybe that's what you should do. But the RHS says no, limited watering. Anyway, what's mistake number 4? Now, mistake number 4, we have just touched on this, is overwintering. The Royal Horticultural Society, my favourite society, says this cannot tolerate temperatures any lower than between +5 and +1 degrees centigrade. But the growers who grow this, the specialists, people who know what they're talking about, they say no, this plant will go down to -8 degrees Celsius.
I suppose if you put it somewhere a little protected, create a nice little microclimate, so you get protected by a nice wall, arbor, shrubs, etc. This would be the key, isn't it? So try and keep it toasty in the garden as much as possible.
I mean, where else other than England do you get cold, wet winters? I mean, we are experts at cold, wet winters, and if this plant comes from a place that has cold, wet winters, then why should we not leave it outside to have the right conditions? But the Royal Horticultural Society says no. So who do you believe? The specialist growers or the RHS, who do make mistakes every now and again? But don't we all? We're not all perfect, are we?
I am.
Oh, well done. You are. So yeah, overwintering. I think if I was you, I would just put it in a greenhouse, leave it outside in the cold. Be aware, plants like these, as they establish and become more mature, their ability to cope with cold winters improves. So maybe for the first year, leave it in your greenhouse, unheated greenhouse. Maybe second, third year, consider bringing it outside. But if you've just got the one plant, and they're not easy to find and they are expensive to buy, then maybe to the side of caution and just keep it in your greenhouse, unheated, water sparingly. Mistake number 5 is, where do you put it? You know, you have got it in a pot, you put it on your patio, you can put it where you like really if it's in a pot, but really you need to have it in absolute full sun. You want to put it in a position where it receives as much sunlight and heat as you can possibly get. Now, regarding heat, you might want to position that against a south-facing wall, which for our Australian viewers would be a north-facing wall, but that's up here, south-facing wall. So you get the heat reflected and absorbed into that wall that radiates it out back at night. So heat, light, the two things it absolutely must have in order to grow. And there you have it. Those are my 5 mistakes to avoid when planting up your Protea. Can I just say the reason why it's called a King Protea is because it has the largest flower of all the Proteas, and it is indeed both pollinated by sun birds, which are nectar feeding birds, and insects and beetles. Anyway, if you've got anything you would like to add to that, then you can do so by putting it in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And Lorna, have you got any last questions for us?
Yes, 2.
Oh, all right.
So when is my next Protea arriving?
We will. Well, do you know what?
And can I have a Protearium in the garden?
A Protearium?
Yes, that'd be great.
Maybe.
Shall we see if you don't kill this one first?
I've got a little secret for you.
Okay. Yes, that sounds amazing. Oh, okay, the Protearium might be in order.
Good. Protearium. Okay, well anyway, that's it. That really is it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.